Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the invitation to give you a very short address as EfVET President to such a nice gathering in Germany discussing the internationalization of vocational education and training, the chances and the challenges that you have. I know very well that the German system of vocational education and training is in the forefront when we talk about the quality of what vocational education and training is all about. And therefore, a theme such as the internationalization of vocational education and training is not just a permanent theme that we should be discussing, but it's a very interesting theme for today's world. When we talk about mobility, mobility is a principle and an objective within not just vocational education and training, but also on education post the secondary education or the compulsory education, not to mention how important it is also for young people. The world is getting smaller. Globalization is a phenomenon which we have to live with for the next 100 years or more, because communication is becoming easier, and therefore people travel, people move, and therefore this movement of people is creating interaction between peoples, which is a benefit to our understanding of diversity and the chance for us to come together. Therefore, mobility in Germany, as we know, you have already reached the targets that the European Union has set. Your own targets are even higher. And this is an example to many other member states. We ourselves, as EfVET, support the internationalization of education and training. We support mobility, and we support even those who claim that Erasmus Plus should give more benefits to vocational education and training than it gives, or at least at par with higher education. In today's world, when we talk about vocational education and training, we are not just talking about the lower levels of a qualification framework. Today, higher VET, as we call it, is getting more and more attention in policy, in practice, and in the institutions that cater for this kind of learning. So I welcome the efforts that you are making through this meeting, but I also welcome the German members of EfVET who can be in this meeting and who I know will support the energy and the commitment as EfVET that we have with European institutions supporting vocational education and training. And therefore, when I see the importance that this area of study is gaining, I was quite surprised to learn some years ago that in the European education area, vocational education and training is not being given by the European Union the importance and the priority that it deserves. I will bank on you and on your support to emphasize with the European Union how important vocational education and training is all about. It is important to have VET weeks. It is important to have recommendations about vocational education and training, but the difference that we make as VET providers is enormous. And therefore, I address you in this conference with the hope that you will continue to support vocational education and training. You will continue to support EfVET, the European Forum for Vocational Training, and that you will continue with your efforts to make sure that in the near future, when we talk about VET, VET becomes and remains the first choice of our learners. Employers are happy with the students and the learners that we produce in VET, and therefore talking about VET, making VET more international is our mission, and it is an objective which we have to work together as one to make the VET voice even stronger. I augur that you have not just an interesting discussion in your conference, but that you come up with conclusions and recommendations which would benefit not only Germany, but also European VET and associations such as ours, so that VET becomes truly the first choice for learners and for workers.